Today's the final practice day for the Bassmaster Open event here at Thousand Islands, the St. Lawrence River. And after 2 days, I've had a pretty good practice. Been fishing out in Lake Ontario. Actually, St. Lawrence River dumps into Lake Ontario, into the eastern end of Lake Ontario. A lot of smallmouth out there. I have one shoal that I can catch a pretty good stringer of smallmouth, but it's exposed to the wind. It's really out there in the lake, and if the wind blows more than 10 miles an hour, it's going to be really difficult to fish it. So I kind of got to give myself a backup plan. That's what I want to do today. I've come to a fairly sheltered area, sheltered harbor, and I'm going to try and catch some largemouth. The largemouth population is good here in the river, and I'm going to try and figure out a way to catch the largemouth. That way, if the smallmouths get trashed by the wind, I got a place to go. Toothy critters. Dang. He come up out of there and he launched that spinnerbait. Oh my goodness. Come on in the boat there, big fella. I'm going to tell you something. They can take a spinnerbait and turn it inside out. Look at those teeth. Look at the size of those teeth. It's not what you want in a bass tournament, but man, oh man, is it a rush when they boil a spinnerbait. And they stink. Nasty, 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 nasty. God, unbelievable. You know, I've had some of my best tournament successes here on the St. Lawrence River, and actually, a little history. My high school graduation trip was to come to Thousand Islands and watch a Bassmaster event. I actually came to and stayed at Alexandria Bay, and I fished for the week. My dad brought me up here, and I got to go to a Bassmaster weigh-in. They had the National Bassmaster event here in June, and this is the one that Forrest Wood won. And I got to meet Tommy Martin and Rick Clunn and Bill Dance and get all their autographs, and it was a pretty defining point in my life as far as I really knew after seeing all of that. I knew exactly what I wanted to do for a living. And the other thing was I didn't catch hardly any fish the whole time I was here, but I watched these pros just bring in bag after bag after bag of these big largemouths and smallmouths, and it was just, you know, it was very evident these guys really knew what they were doing, and I was just dialed in and locked on from there on out. I wanted to be a pro fisherman. Oh, there's one. There's one right by that dock. It's like a little band of weeds that grow right up the dock, but I guess because the sunlight doesn't get to the shadow of the dock, there's like a little narrow strip where there's not any weeds, and those fish kind of seem like that they're in those little troughs or any little sandy spot where a boat's been parked, and you can just about throw, you know, jig, topwater, just about any bait in there, and if the fish is there, you come up and he'll get it. Bitty largemouth. Hungry little dude. Whoa. That's when you know they're hungry, when they're eating a bait. That Sammy's as big as he is.
Don't go away. Angler on Tour will be right back.
Oh, man, that was a nice one. What I've got here is a little deep wall. The grass kind of falls off, kind of steep. You got some matted grass and some scattered grass outside of it. That's the second one I've had blow up on this bait that didn't get it, and they were both nice ones, you know. They're real nice fish. I don't need to catch them today. I just need to know where they're at. Normally I would probably pitch a jig on these walls, but with it being overcast like this, I can cover a lot more water, locate areas that have fish in them, and then, you know, if it gets bright, sunny, and the wind blows, I can come in here with a flipping stick and make it happen. And so far, that's a couple of good bites in this one little area of this little canal. And it could, oh, there's one. And it could blow, oh, I lost it. Oh, that's a really nice one, right down this little wall. It could blow 40 miles an hour. And I could come right in here and catch them. A little backup plan. You know, one thing that's really important is to make sure that you fish the conditions too that are dealt you in practice, and realize that you know, finding an area that has fish is really as important, or maybe more important, than finding the right lure. It's cloudy today and they're coming up on this top water, but I guarantee you, if it gets sunny and it gets bright, they'll suck right into those walls and under that matted grass, and they'll take a jig to catch them, or some type of a plastic bait that penetrates down into the grass. You know, so many fishermen make that mistake that they'll dial into a lure just because that's what they caught them in practice, and then it changes, the conditions change, and they don't change with them, they don't adapt. In a place that they really thought had a lot of fish, the fish didn't go anywhere, they just didn't adapt to catch them. Hey, this week's Team Outdoor Channel tip has to do with fishing the Senko. Super bait, real hot bait, very popular right now. Fairly expensive piece of plastic. And fishing them wacky style, rigging the hook sideways into the meat of the bait and letting it hang like that is the popular way to fish it. Problem is, one bite, one lure gone, 60 cents down the tube. I want to tell you something. I found a way to preserve that bait for 3, 4, maybe even 5 fish catches and still fish it wacky style. Go to your auto parts store, pick up some O-rings, the right size to slip right over top the Senko, just like this. Pull it down to the egg sac of the Senko, and then take your 3 or 4/0 offset shank. Hang it on that O-ring, and when the fish gets it, it doesn't tear it up. And even better than that, it actually will slide up the line when the fish is fighting to where there's no momentum, no added weight to help him throw the hook. Great tip for fishing a Senko. Sun's starting to pop out. About time to put this top water down. I haven't had a bite on it in probably about 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. I'm going to get my flipping stick and my jig and start dropping this jig into some places, some canopied areas, to see if I can find some more fish. But just, you know, once it gets bright, they don't tend to want to come up for that top water. You about got to go down where they're at. They get up in that grass. Hard to catch on the top water plug when they tuck up like that. You know, docks with matted vegetation are probably my favorite flipping stuff around in this part of the country. That canopy that dock creates, that hole up underneath, is just textbook for largemouth. And you pitch that jig in there, and you work it through that mat, and when it drops down there, they're laying underneath that dock. It's like watching TV. They see that crawfish falling down there, and they put the hurt on it. And again, a nice protected area. I'm only about a quarter of a mile from the place where I got all the topwater strikes this morning. So, you know, I've got 2 largemouth places now. I'll catch some. So remember, it's real important that you have just enough jig, just heavy enough jig to get through that canopy, whatever it is. You don't want that bait just to fall to the bottom real fast. You can get away with a half, use a half. Take a 3/4, use a 3/4. But, you know, you don't want to use anything heavier than you have to use. You can catch some big ones like this, too. Right up underneath that dock. There's a little docks and boats will do the same thing. They'll create like a dark area, just like the dock back there did. This boat's parked in the same spot every day. Sunlight doesn't get underneath there, and it makes a little rim, or like a little spot where the grass doesn't grow, and these fish will hold right in it. So sometimes just pitching right up against the hull of these boats can make all the difference in the world. It's two. And this one little stretch right here. The old Arky jig. Another thing I do a lot of times is I'll take a spinnerbait and I'll run it down the sides of the boat, right down along the side, and just kind of parallel it where there's not a lot of grass, and you can get those fish to come right up underneath, right out from the side of the boat and grab that spinnerbait. It works really a little bit better when it's more cloudy and they're more apt to come away from the boat to hit the bait. The key is to get it in that little open trench, whether it's a jig or a spinnerbait. Throughout the day, I've gone into a lot of different areas, and I've found two areas that are holding fish. And I think the key aspect of both of them is it has a little bit deeper water, whether it's been dredged out or it's natural. It's got some deeper water near the bank. The areas I've gone into that are real flat, real shallow, they don't have any largemouth, and I think that's because of this falling water. Dropping water has pulled them out of those places and made these places that has a little bit of water that much better. There's one. Nice fish. It's really kind of fan casting around in this milfoil. There must be a lot of fish in this little canal. It's a good healthy fish, about 2 1/4 pounds. 5 of them give you about, close to 12 pounds. And, it's not the 15 pounds we'll catch in the river, but I can't emphasize enough, you got to think. You got to have a backup plan. And I think my backup plan is coming together. Oh, yeah. It was right underneath the flow of that styrofoam. I put it in there. I thought I felt something, and the doggone line was all the way over here when I set the hook. It was trucking, brother. Wow, there. The glass, the slime. That's so nice. I'd take 5 of those. I'd take 5 of those and be real happy. That's it for me. I have found Plan B that I am comfortable with, and we're about 2 hours away from the pre-tournament meeting. So I'm going to get the heck out of here. See if I can't go win me some cash. First day of competition went according to schedule, and the smallmouth literally ate the paint off this pointer 78. Moderate winds, sunny, good visibility, and the fish were just coming up and eating the bait. My partner and I both had a really good stringer of smallmouth. I had 15-1 for day number 1, but the catches were just overwhelming. This lake was just putting them out, and I'm in 38th place after day 1. So, while it was a great stringer, there were a lot of great stringers, and I've got, still got some ground to make up. I'm a little nervous, though, because the forecast is calling for some extremely high winds tomorrow out of the west, which is blowing straight in off the lake and into the mouth of the river. And I know from past experience, if it's more than 10 miles an hour out of the west, you can get some really big waves out there. It's hard enough to get to my area because I'm going way out in the lake and around, but then I have to be able to fish when I get there. My area is very exposed, so I may have to, play that into consideration, and when I'm deciding where to go tomorrow, I may have to fish for those largemouths if it blows real hard. To understand how the open process works, Bassmaster has a fall series now that's open literally to all anglers. It's called the Northern Opens, Central Opens, and Southern Opens. I'm fishing the Northerns. There's 3 tournaments in each division. The top 5 anglers will go to the Classic. Very important to realize that the anglers that make the Classic in this top 5 will know almost a year ahead of time that they've qualified for the Classic. What a great feeling to be able to fish the Tour next year and having already qualified for the Classic. Lake Ontario is a wonderful place to come and visit, but unfortunately there's a lot of things out there that you can run into. I ran into one of them. This is the result.
Here we go, Joe Thomas. Joe, I see 5.
Yeah, Fish, it was a lot tougher to catch what I caught today than yesterday.
Let's slide the scale to 11 pounds and 7 ounces. We gonna make it?
Boy, I hope I did. You know, if I would have come here and you'd have said, Joe, you're going to catch about 27 pounds, it might not make the cut. I'd have told you you've been drinking something, you know? Well, I'm going to be on the hot seat now for about the next 2 hours and 15 minutes because that's about how long it's going to take to get all the anglers in and tabulate everything. It was a massive decision for me when I reached the mouth of the St. Lawrence River, and there were at least 8-footers, and some of the waves were stacking to 10. And it took me an hour. I looked at my watch, and it took me an hour to get to the river. And the time factor with the 2:30 weigh-in just was not going to allow me to get to Chameau Bay, the area I was fishing, and get back. So I made a call. I turned around, I came back and fished for largemouths right around Clayton, ended up catching 7, culled 2 that weighed 11.7, 26.8 for 2 days. Most tournaments that would just be like a great finish and make the cut easy, but here the weights are so high, I'm just going to have to sit and wonder what's going to happen. I'm hoping I'm going to make it, but you know, I just got to wait around and see. But I don't have any bad feelings about this tournament. I never lost a fish. I had a really good day yesterday, and I think I made a solid decision today and capitalized on what bites I got. So, you know, whatever happens, even if I get cut, I feel pretty good about it. It's crunch time. So the 2 hours have passed, and they're getting ready to read off the top 50. So I get to see if I can fish tomorrow or not. I'm not nervous, just a little bit. A lot.
Joe Thomas, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Steve Linsenmeyer.
I sat there, I was a nervous wreck yesterday afternoon waiting to see if I'd make the cut, and lo and behold, I was 17th after 2 days, so I was completely shocked to be in the position I'm in. And the good news is the wind is laid down. It's going to blow out of the south at less than 10 today, 5 to 10, which is a good wind for the lake. So we'll go back out to my smallmouths and try and, you know, move up a little further. Right now, it's not about money. I mean, I'd love to make a lot here, but the key is the points. You know, there's only 3 events in these opens to make the Classic. So, you know, another top 15 finish, and I'm really close to where I need to be going into the last tournament. And I may even throw the little top water this morning. That's calm enough. I've got one little area that I think maybe I can catch a few on top. We'll see.
I had the worst day. Fishing was perfect. I mean, the conditions. And the smallmouth just would not bite. He caught 3 real big ones, and I was pressing, and I left the lake with maybe 7 pounds in the live well, and I ran in and just beat us to death to get in, and I pulled around the corner and went up in this little canal, and I caught 2 3s and a 2, all largemouths in the last 10 minutes. Saved the day. I'm way happier than I was an hour ago. Not a lot. It's way better than I had an hour ago by about 7 pounds.
Let's go to Cincinnati, Ohio. Joe Thomas. Oh, buddy, Joe's on fire. He had a great Potomac River tournament. There's 5.
Yes, I have 5 fish.
12 pounds, 1 ounce, 12-1. Now, wait a minute. Joe, you're one of the best smallmouth fishermen in the country, and I'm seeing large lift.
Well, this Northern Open's in the history books now. Koby Kreiger won the tournament with over 52 pounds, had a tremendous catch of both largemouth and smallmouth. Myself ended up 20th place, had a great finish. Those last couple of fish right at the end of the third day made a big difference and moved me from probably a 40th to 50th place finish right up into 20th place, which was just a great, great finish for me. Even more importantly, though, I'm in 4th after 2 events with 1 left to make the Bassmasters Classic. I'm pretty jazzed going to that last tournament. It's going to be on the Hudson River here in about a month.